Forget exotic flavors, culinary prestige, or even masking the stench of rotting meat. The real reason ancient humans risked life and limb, launched empires, and waged wars over a tiny pinch of cinnamon or a handful of peppercorns wasn't just about taste. It was about something far more primal, more desperate, and utterly shocking: survival. Imagine a world without refrigeration, without antibiotics, without modern medicine. A scratch could fester into a fatal infection. A meal could hide invisible armies of bacteria, bringing swift, agonizing death. This was the brutal reality our ancestors faced for hundreds of thousands of years. Yet, somehow, they didn't just survive. They thrived, venturing into new climates, adapting to new foods, and doing so with an unlikely ally: spices. For generations, we've been told a simple story. Spices made bland food palatable, or they covered up the taste of decay. But this is where the popular myth begins to crumble. What if the very pleasure we derive from these potent plant compounds today is an echo of a deep, unconscious biological imperative? What if our ancestors were not just flavoring their food, but inadvertently medicating themselves, protecting their entire species from unseen killers? The truth is far more profound than mere culinary preference. It suggests that our bodies, our brains, and even our most basic sensory experiences are hardwired with a secret history of survival. How could something so delightful be rooted in such stark necessity? And what did these early humans know? Or perhaps, what did their bodies sense that allowed them to unlock this ancient pharmacy centuries before science could explain it? The answer lies hidden in the intricate chemistry of plants and the desperate ingenuity of our ancestors. The seemingly simple act of adding a dash of spice to a meal is, in fact, a profound interaction with biochemistry. For millennia, scientists have probed the incredible power of these unassuming plant parts. The core principle, the scientific bedrock of this ancient craving, is surprisingly straightforward. Spices are nature's antimicrobials. Think about it. Plants themselves are stationary. They can't run from pests, fungi, or bacteria. So, over millions of years of evolution, they developed a sophisticated chemical arsenal to protect themselves. These compounds, complex terpenes, pungent phenols, sharp alkaloids, are precisely what we perceive as spicy or aromatic. And crucially, they are incredibly effective at inhibiting the growth of microorganisms that cause food spoilage and human disease. Consider the geographical distribution of spice use. Cuisines heavy in spices, think India, Thailand, Mexico, parts of Africa, originate in hot, humid climates. These are precisely the environments where bacteria multiply fastest and food spoils most rapidly. Is it a coincidence that ancient cultures in these regions developed an intense preference for potent spices like chili, turmeric, ginger, and garlic? Scientific studies have shown a strong correlation. The warmer the climate, the more antibacterial spices traditionally appear in the local cuisine. It wasn't that ancient humans conducted microbiology experiments. Their knowledge was experiential, hammered out over generations of trial and error. Those who intuitively gravitated towards spice-laden meals got sick less often. Their children survived to reproduce more frequently. Slowly, subtly, an evolutionary preference for these powerful, protective compounds was etched into our very DNA. The human brain began to associate the unique sensations of spices not just with flavor, but with well-being, with continued existence. It was a subtle feedback loop where a beneficial biological effect translated into a desirable sensory experience. This wasn't just about masking the smell of decay after the fact, it was often about actively preventing it or mitigating the damage of already contaminated food. A robust curry, for instance, isn't just delicious, it's a veritable fortress of antimicrobial defense, turning potentially hazardous ingredients into a safer, more digestible meal. Many spices also stimulate digestive enzymes, reducing inflammation and aiding gut health. Another critical survival advantage in a world where gut problems could easily lead to death. So, the next time you encounter a dish bursting with the bold flavors of the Silk Road, remember, you're not just tasting history, you're tasting a testament to our ancestors' unwitting genius, their biological adaptation to a hostile world long before the concept of a microbe ever existed. Here's where it gets truly mind-bending. If spices were primarily medicinal, a natural antibiotic, then why do they taste so incredibly good? This is the paradox at the heart of our ancient craving. What if the deliciousness itself was a sophisticated survival mechanism? Our brains, through evolution, learned to reward us for consuming these beneficial compounds. That tingling sensation from ginger, the burning warmth of chili, the earthy complexity of turmeric. These weren't just random sensory inputs. They were signals, a sophisticated internal reward system telling our bodies, yes, this is good for you. Seek more of this. We literally evolved to enjoy our medicine. This goes beyond mere preservation. Spices were the ancient humans' first pharmacy. Need to settle a queasy stomach? Chew on some ginger. Dealing with inflammation or pain? Turmeric and cloves offered relief. Suffering from parasites? Many spices have vermifuge properties. Before the advent of synthetic drugs, these plant compounds were the frontline defense against a myriad of ailments, preventing small sicknesses from spiraling into fatal conditions. Our ancestors weren't just eating, they were self-medicating, guided by instinct and the pleasant feedback loop of their taste buds. But the story doesn't end with pure biology. As societies developed, spices took on another, equally fascinating role, a powerful signifier of wealth and status. Because many of the most potent and desirable spices grew in specific, often distant regions, their acquisition required immense resources, daring voyages, and complex trade networks. Only the truly elite could afford a steady supply of exotic peppercorns, fragrant cloves, or precious saffron. To serve a heavily spiced meal was not just to offer protection against disease, it was to flaunt immense power and influence. It was a visible, aromatic declaration of one's place at the apex of society. This creates a fascinating counterintuitive finding. The very compounds that offered universal survival benefits became luxury items, accessible only to a few. A paradox where a fundamental biological need was transformed into a symbol of social hierarchy. The poor still needed spices for health, but could only afford local, milder varieties, while the rich could literally spice up their lives and perhaps live longer, healthier ones, simply by virtue of their affluence. And how did this knowledge spread? Through an incredible global network of trade, migration, and accidental discovery. As early humans moved and interacted, the benefits of certain plants were shared, adapted, and integrated into local diets. It was a slow, organic accumulation of wisdom, a collaborative botanical experiment played out over millennia. Each new culinary tradition, each distinctive spice blend, was not merely a cultural quirk, but a highly refined, time-tested strategy for survival passed down from generation to generation. The biggest payoff, the truly shocking truth, is that our universal, deeply ingrained pleasure in spices is not a mere indulgence, but a sophisticated, ancient system designed by evolution to keep us healthy, thriving, and alive. We are, in essence, hardwired to enjoy the taste of our own enduring survival. So, how does this ancient craving resonate with us today? In our world of sterile kitchens and pharmaceutical abundance, do spices still serve a deeper purpose than just flavor? Absolutely. The echoes of that primal survival instinct are still strong. Modern science is constantly validating the wisdom of our ancestors, uncovering the anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and even anti-cancer properties of compounds found in turmeric, ginger, garlic, and chilies. The active ingredients in countless modern medications can trace their lineage back to the natural compounds our ancestors first harnessed with a pinch of spice. This deep history of spices offers a profound lesson. It reminds us that our instincts, our preferences, and even our pleasures are often rooted in ancient, life-sustaining wisdom. As we look to the future, perhaps even venturing to other planets, understanding how early humans unlocked the hidden potential of their environment through an evolved sensory feedback loop could be a critical tool. How might alien flora hold similar chemical secrets? How might our own biological preferences guide us to new forms of medicine, new ways of understanding health and survival? The next time you reach for that familiar jar of cinnamon or feel the fiery kick of chili, awaken your senses. Will you still think of it as just a flavor, or as a whisper from your ancestors? A secret code for survival, etched into your very being, reminding you of the profound, shocking truth that deliciousness can, and often does, mean life itself. Life itself.